When I say the word family, who do you think of? Do you think of your parents, your siblings, your best friend? There's a lot of different ways that family can be defined, and we're going to talk through those today. The first is a structural definition of family. So the structural definition might be what you first thought of. So people who are blood related to you through genetics, legally related to you through marriage or adoption. These are really objective terms that our government often uses, for example, to define family, who's in, who's out. But this is a really limited definition of family, and a lot of us have family members that don't fit within those boundaries. So people who are like a sister to us, like an aunt to us, adopted grandparents, like unofficially adopted grandparents, people like this. And so a structural definition is often not enough, not good enough. So let's talk about some other ways we can define family that are a bit more inclusive. We can also define family based on function. So function really includes what families do. So this could be things like hanging out together, supporting one another, teaching one another things, providing support. So function is something you can see, right? It's what families are doing together. How do they spend their time? And the type of people who give you support then could be considered family. The third way of defining family is through interaction, and this is even deeper than function. It can be harder to see from the outside because it's really about what's going on within interactions and how high quality those interactions are, the people that you surround yourselves with that really give you a sense of shared identity and the sense of family and belonging, and this place in time in history. So this idea that there's something bigger than just us going on, that our families reach back in time and forward into the future. That's the interactional definition of family, and this is the most broad. It's also the most difficult to enforce, if you will. Someone at your family was hospitalized, and the staff at the hospital had to decide who was let into the room and who wasn't. It'd be really hard to apply an interactional family definition there because staff at the hospital don't know what your interactions are like as a family, who provides you that sense of shared identity. Instead, places like hospitals typically depend on a structural definition because they can say, are you legally married? Are you, legally adopted? Are you blood related to this person? Yes, no, you're in or you're out. And so different definitions are more and less limited and more and less useful in different situations. Let's talk a little bit about the functions that families serve as well. And this could be things like teaching younger members about society and how the world works. That would be a micro function. So microfunctions are functions that serve the individual members. There's also macro functions of family, and those serve society. So it's what the family does that serves society. So things like socializing young people, for example. So you can teach within the family, but also there are macro functions of teaching children kind of how to be good citizens and how to live in this world. Let's go through some primary terms for family. So the first one I want to talk about is nuclear families. This is typically what's portrayed on television and in media, although that is changing. Shows are getting much more diverse these days, showing blended families and more diverse types of families. But nuclear families is still typically what people think of when they think of family. So this would be mom, dad, or partners and their children. This is not the majority in the United States, and it's unfortunate this is still portrayed as the majority for the most part. An extended family includes multiple generations, so more than two, so grandparent, parent, child. Family of orientation is the family you've grown up with, so things like siblings and parents. And then the family of procreation is the family that you may choose to start later, so that could be a partner and children. A step or blended family includes people who have been added through legal means like marriage, so step siblings, step parents. So it's a very brief primer on defining family and some important definitions that we can use when discussing family. Now that you've heard this, I wonder which type of definition you prefer. Do you have a best friend that's like a sister or brother? Would you prefer a functional or an interactional definition of family so that you can feel like those people are included in who your family unit is?